everyone. Thank you for joining us for this month's edition of Visit Mendocino County's Room to Roam. I'm Roberta Gonzales with my bestie here. It's Travis Scott, and he's the Executive Director of Visit Mendocino County. Travis, it's so good to see you.
I know. I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Always a month since I've seen you, but
Right?
It seems longer. It really does.
It does seem it's been too long, actually. So we're going to have to remedy that after today.
Thank you very much.
Right?
So we drop this podcast once a month, and this month is something very special because, you know, I think of Visit Mendocino County like much of you. We think bed and breakfast, we think food, we think wine, we think breweries, we think great ocean, hospitality, great people, dog friendly.
Right.
But come on, we all think cannabis, right?
Right.
And so we can't avoid it. And so what do we do this month?
So this month we went on a really special tour of 3 different businesses in Mendocino County that all are involved in the cannabis trade. And so we're going to start off in the Anderson Valley, which is most well known for wine grape growing and its wine.
And brewery.
And brewery, yes. That was in 2 segments ago, I believe, or 2 episodes ago. But they're also famous. It's a perfect region for cannabis growing. So famous for that. So we're going to stop in first at the Bohemian Chemist and meet with Jim Roberts,
who I fell in love with. I really did, because he's a wonderful gentleman. He's so knowledgeable, and he's this great proprietor of this wonderful place, the Madrones.
A total visionary.
Yes.
Total visionary.
Yes.
So we're going to stop at his place first, and then we'll head on with our tour. So why don't we go catch up with Jim?
Hi, I'm here at the Bohemian Chemist, and I am going to talk to Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi, nice
I'm
to meet
Naomi.
you.
Nice
Yeah,
to meet
welcome.
you. So I have never been in a place like this, so can you kind of make me feel at ease and introduce
Sure.
me to what you have and
Yeah.
what it's all about?
Absolutely. So our small shop here is off the Madrones, which is our main complex up in Mendocino. And we actually are a micro business. So we do our own cultivation. We have a farm that's about 5 minutes from here. And then a lot of our products are shown here at the Bohemian Chemist. We have our own line, and then we carry a lot of other lines also. So, yeah, but it's your first time. I mean, you haven't really partaked a lot.
No, I don't know
Okay.
anything, but I know that I would like to know about a few things, specifically for my husband to start. He has some pains in his back, maybe sciatica, and also doesn't sleep well because of that. So
Sure.
do you have something you can suggest?
Absolutely. So we have a whole line of medicinal products, and these are products, everything that we carry within the shop has to have a little bit of THC in it. And that's actually because of the state of California, they want us to have some THC in each one of the products. So, but THC, depending on how it's administered, is not always psychoactive. A lot of our products that we have in here are actually topical products. We have a set of patches and also transdermal compounds that can be used that are really good for pain. Mary's is one line that we really like a lot, and it's one that's been around for quite a while. Woman founded, which is really, really nice, and all their products are really effective, in doing that. So
Wow, okay. So that's for my husband. How about if I've got teenage daughters that stress me out and I just want to have a laugh.
Okay.
I need to relax.
So there's a couple things. So one is CBD is a really good anti-anxiety cannabinoid. So that with a little bit of THC, so we have like a 30-to-1, which is from Papa Barkley. That's a really good one for just kind of calming you down. Recreational, for just to kind of have a little bit more of an escape, a little bit more fun. We suggest actually a few different products that we have. We have our own products, which are giggle smokes, which have been trademarked.
Oh.
And basically all our stylings from the 1920s, so that's what they used to call cannabis joints at that time was giggle smokes. So those come in a 5-pack, and we have them either in an indica or sativa. The sativa is going to be much more uplifting. So that's just a cultivar plant, and that's going to be one that's going to make you feel just laugh, and like the name says, giggle smoke. So,
Awesome,
yeah.
that's fantastic. What about if I don't want to smoke?
So if you don't want to smoke, there's a lot of edibles that are out right now. A lot of them also have nanotechnology, which means that they will take an effect within maybe 20 to 30 minutes, where the edibles used to take like an hour and a half. You would say, I don't feel anything. Maybe take another one, which is not a good idea. We always say, really just take a little bit at a time just to try it out. So one of the ones that we really like is Rose Delights. This is a company that's out of Los Angeles, And they actually have their own kitchen. They usually partner with certain farms, and with those farms will maybe have an orchard, so they'll take fruit from the farm and they infuse it with fruit. But the dosage on this is only 5 milligrams, which is really kind of a small dosage. I think for people that are just kind of starting out, this is a really great, great thing to partake in. So, and it's also, the quality is really amazing. It's like a Turkish delight. One of our favorite products is by Wild, and this is actually a gummy again. It's made with elderberry, so the flavor on it's amazing. Yeah, and it's a company that's been around for quite a while. They started out in Oregon originally, but this is a great sleep product. We have 2 or 3 that are in the shop that are really good sleep products.
Awesome. Okay, if I were to purchase some, I don't live here. If I travel, how does that work?
So traveling right now, since it is still federally considered a class 1 drug, it's not advised that you travel with it. You know, I think the most that the agents are usually doing is maybe confiscating things instead of penalizing people. I haven't heard of anyone really getting penalized for it, but it's something that I would caution people on. So I think it's not advised, it's actually against the law. Anyway, yes, that's what I advise on that. That is especially if you're flying out of state.
Awesome. Okay, and then you have all of these devices that you can...
Sure. So this is actually a whole line of vape pens and vape products that we have. With our own line, we have also our own vape cartridges. A lot has gone around as far as vape cartridges being dangerous, having additives, that sort of thing. Yeah. Everything that we put in our vape cartridges comes from our farm. So we actually take the product once it's fresh, we freeze it, and then when it goes to the extractor, it goes through a process without any added chemicals or fillers or anything like that. It's really just pure live resin from the plant itself. So you're going to get the full spectrum effect from all the qualities that the plant had. So these are just devices that we have in order to use for vaping. Yeah, and vaping, I think, for people, because a lot of people have kind of an odd relationship with that, I think it's a really measured way to partake in cannabis, much more than just smoking flower. You can take a small little hit or just a small puff, and if you take like maybe a cartridge that has indica cultivar of cannabis, that's gonna have just a real relaxing effect for you. So at the end of the day, if I come in, I have a farm, so if I'm out working on my farm, I'll come in and maybe just have a little bit of indica in my vape pen, and that just really kind of takes the chill off of the day. We come in and have a day that's really stressed without getting completely incapacitated, which is not the goal here. Our goal is really to have cannabis be something that's enhancing. Right. So that if you're out here and you're having an experience, whether you're taking a hike or just hanging out with friends, we're looking at cannabis as something that can enhance that situation, and not just about getting completely high from the experience. So that's really kind of what our market is. Hey Naomi, I wanted to kind of show you the grounds here too at the property. So, you know, where we're just at is actually our Apothecary that's on the property. These are our rose gardens that we have here. We have about 9 accommodations total on the property, but it's a great place for people to stay. So the roses are kind of in first bloom right now, which is really the most beautiful time of year to be out here, for sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Do you cultivate your own cannabis?
We do. So, you know, this was my home for many years, and actually I went ahead and moved up to our family farm, which is about 5 minutes from here. My mom's about 91 years old. She started the cultivation, so I'm second generation. Took it over about 6 years ago or so. So we plant in native soil, full term as far as sun, so we actually plant just one time a season. And then all the things that we cultivate up there actually go into our products, whether it's going to be our pre-rolls or our flour or our live resin. It all goes into our products.
Wow,
yeah.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Awesome. So are there any special events coming up, and if so, how would we find out about them?
Sure. So this year we decided to really kind of embrace cannabis tourism. So with that, we have a whole series of events that are happening this summer and into the fall. If you go to our website, which is www.thebohemianchemist.com, you'll actually see an event page that's there, and it'll have all the listing of the events that we're having.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
you bet.
for your time,
all
Jim.
right.
I appreciate it.
You bet.
All right,
Thanks,
take
Naomi.
care.
Okay.
Bye.
Rolling hills and vineyard valleys, redwood forests, and a stunning coastline. Mendocino County features wineries, breweries, restaurants, and lovely places to stay. For a breath of fresh air and room to roam, visit Mendocino County. Jim is just the best at everything.
Oh my gosh, he's, like I said before, he's a visionary. And I mean, didn't Naomi get a massive education at that stop?
You know, one thing he taught her about also is she lives out of state. What you can travel with, what you cannot travel with, right? And that's so advantageous.
Exactly.
Because people tour Mendocino County.
Right. But that's the great thing about what we're doing here right now is we're all getting an education. You know, it's newly legal. And so we all need to kind of feel the ground out and understand how it works.
You're right. I learned a lot. And I bought you a fish dish.
Yes, at the little gift shop.
Yeah, you can buy things there. It's so cool. You find very eclectic things. I got a set of pearls and, things that you would never guess. So we hit the road, and then where did we go to?
So we're headed over to Ukiah now.
Yes.
On the 101, and we are going to stop in at the plant shop and visit with owner Rosie.
So this is what I consider like a brick and mortar place. We were at a boutique before. Now we're at a brick and mortar place where this is all they do. They just sell cannabis and things that go with cannabis.
Correct. And not only that, but they've got this beautiful outdoor consumption area where they do concerts and yoga and all this crazy stuff. So
yes, you spend a whole weekend there.
Right.
You do. So let's take you there right now.
Rose, here we are in Ukiah. You're from Los Angeles, right? What brought you to Northern California to create this wonderful atmosphere called the Plant Shop and Lounge?
Well, originally cannabis is what brought me up here. I am a real estate developer, and I had a property in Malibu, and I had a tenant, and my tenant used to pay me in cash. So I like cash. So every month I'd go and pick up the cash for my tenant, and he would come to Mendocino, so I had an idea what the cash was from, but I never asked any questions. And one time he gave me this little bottle that's called a spagyric. It was made by a real alchemist. And it was an alchemical formula where cannabis was distilled into this little formula, and it had a Buddha on it. And so this little Buddha on it, I took a few drops of it before yoga because there was a Buddha. I was in yoga. I get a little high before I go to yoga. Yes, I do. And normally I'm smoking something in my car before I go into yoga, but I put a little bit of these drops, and I was in yoga, and I was so high. I was in the yoga class looking for my granola bar, eating granola bar, and I was like, what is this? And I learned that Northern California is where people who are in touch with cannabis know how to make all these different kind of medicines, not necessarily just buds that you smoke, but all different kinds that translate into all these beautiful experiences. And so I had to meet the man who made that little spagyric
Of alchemist oil.
Alchemist oil, and he actually lives on Greenfield Ranch right up the road. And I came, and my life changed because I'm from Los Angeles, and I used to think that
It's high octane, right?
I used to think that cannabis grew in closets. I used to think that cannabis grew under weird lights, with everybody hiding around it. And then I came up here, and it was a way of life. Everybody around, it was the most cannabis I've ever seen. And I was excited by it because in Los Angeles, I used to hide with my little baggie of cannabis. And I was up here, and oh my God, there was so much cannabis. And after there was this joint rolling contest I went to, and after they rolled a joint, they took the cannabis and they just went like this and dusted it off. And for me, I used to pay $50 for that amount that they dusted off. So the next day I would go and try to pick it up, and all the joints that were rolled were just laying there. And I just knew I had to keep coming back because I really like cannabis.
So you started the plant shop
Yes.
and the lounge, and a lot of this is medicinal. For example, you were talking to me about a particular oil over here,
Yes.
and I was saying, oh, this is called a relief face oil. So cannabis people think, okay, I can just smoke a bud and get high, but this actually has some purpose.
It does. This Actually, this little tiny bottle here has 750 milligrams of CBD and 750 milligrams of THC, and you smelt it, right?
So people don't know what CBD is. Can you explain that and what the difference TCH?
Yes, so CBD is the non-psychoactive property of the cannabis plant, where THC is the psychoactive property. So you ingest THC and you get high, but in this particular case, you're receiving the medicinal benefits of it topically.
Okay.
So, like for example, this particular product, when I have redness on my face, like after I've gone and had some kind of treatments, like when I get my eyebrows waxed, there's a little bit of redness and burning, and this stuff will
Or maybe even a sunburn.
Sunburn, yeah.
Okay, so if we use this product, when you hear the word psycho, though, that might kind of freak people out, saying, is it going to make me cray-cray?
No, it's not going to make you cray-cray, and cannabis should not make you cray-cray if you are consuming it responsibly, and if you're consuming it with people who kind of ease you into it in micro doses. Educate you, and that's our mission here at Plant Shop.
Okay, well that's wonderful, and you have the lounge experience also.
We sure
What's that?
do. So we have a half-acre consumption lounge in the back where I'd love to bring you all and show you around. And I like to think of Plant Shop not just a dispensary. We are a wellness center. We're a healing center. So when you trip upon Plant Shop on any given day, I mean, it's the middle of the day right now, so unfortunately you're not experiencing anything, but we have yoga classes 3 evenings a week and Saturday mornings. We have a puff and paint. We have music events that span everywhere from reggae to...
Well, I think a lot of people need to understand also, coming to the age, a few years back, my mother was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And she was just so embarrassed by the trembles, the shakes. And so I did a lot of research, and I found instead of putting a Band-Aid on Parkinson's, just medicating it with more drugs, medication, that you could actually have an edible that helped calm the shakes. And it took me forever to convince my father, like to allow me to give her a sucker or a lozenge, and he finally did it, and it did make a difference. So that's what you are incorporating here?
Yes. And that's one of the most beautiful things that happened with legalization is the testing of all of these products. So we actually know down to the milligram what you're taking. Because the reason cannabis has a bad name, the reason is because in the old days when someone would be given a brownie because they have Parkinson's, they'd be high out of their mind and they'd be contemplating, their
their future.
Yeah, exactly. And it would send them into a tailspin because we don't know how many milligrams was in that edible. If I took 20 milligrams, I would not be having a good experience by now. But because this beautiful thing called legalization of cannabis happened, all the products on these shelves require rigorous testing, so nothing has pesticides, and we know down to the milligram what's in this so we could dose properly. So the triangle is an ode to the emerald triangle. However, in sacred geometry, a triangle represents harmony and balance, and that's something that the cannabis plant always helped me with. And the upward point represents a rising consciousness. And that's the inspiration behind the massive triangle at our entrance. This is the Plant Shop Lounge, where we have yoga 3 days a week, and we have music events almost twice a month. And on any given day, you could come here and we could set you up with a nice tray of rolling papers with cannabis, sun-grown cannabis that you could buy at our shop, or we could set you up with a nice ceramic bong from Summerland or a cool little Puffco if dabs are your thing. We also have all kinds of cannabis beverages that you could enjoy. And while you're here, we have all these games. We have cornhole, we have a half-court basketball, or if you just want to relax on a hammock, then just please hang out. Bring your friends, pack a picnic table, a picnic basket, and come here and have a nice, relaxing time overlooking these mountains and just contemplate all the blessings that we have in our life.
Mendocino County, vibrant with incredible views offering amazing outdoor activities from hiking, biking, and kayaking to wine and beer tasting, gallery hopping, and golfing. Try rail biking. For more adventures, visit animal preserves. And when it's time to take a break, relax at sidewalk cafes and restaurants. Stay longer at any lovely inn throughout the area. For a breath of fresh air and room to roam, visit Mendocino County. The plant shop in Ukiah, I never imagined what I saw behind the scenes, because you see this kind of like brick and mortar store where you can go in and buy your cannabis and all your goods.
Right.
But then behind the scenes.
Right, they have a lounge.
Yes.
With a bar and a stage for concerts. Mm-hmm. And by bar, I mean like a bar where they serve their products from, not an alcohol bar. So they do concerts and they do yoga.
They do yoga every single weekend and during the weekdays. But what I really liked is I fell asleep in the hammock. I really didn't. I wasn't under the influence of anything, trust me, but I was just that relaxed.
Yeah, it's a great place.
In that environment, great place. So just down the road, because I mean, literally a couple miles maybe, is Emerald Sun.
Yes. We're going to head to Emerald Sun now and talk with the CEO, Brett Schlesinger. And Emerald Sun is a processing facility, and they do processing for the small and legacy farmers in Mendocino County to turn their plant into product.
So it's very cool because they deal with the community, for sure. And this, I honestly, this facility is so immaculate and so coolly designed and so beautiful. I would love to move our offices into this facility because it was so wonderful. And again, another completely great learning experience.
Absolutely. Let's go check it out.
All right, let's go.
So Brett, tell me about Emerald Sun. How did this all come about?
Sure. Well, this is an area that I've been fortunate enough to be coming to for about 10 years, not unlike a lot of other people in this space. During the 215 market, most of the infrastructure that exists now in California just wasn't here. I originally used to cover the cannabis industry from a media side, and in doing that, I got a chance to discover that a lot of the supply chain needs that exist in other spaces just didn't exist in cannabis and in California at the time. So again, this has been about 10 years to get to this position where we spent a lot of time driving through this region, connecting with farms, and developing what's now Emerald Sun.
So you are originally from the East Coast.
That's right.
What makes this so desirable here?
Well, it's an absolutely beautiful place.
Yes.
But it really is the cannabis that brought me here. Something that's unique about this area is within, an hour drive, you have different geography, weather, landscapes that feel like you could be in different countries. And that is really what makes this region very special. The cannabis that exists here today is the result of an international community feeding seeds and doing original genetics in this area over time, that now we have something that is very, very unique around the world.
Well, what has made this so special for you? What drew you in to cultivate and to work for this, I don't want to say this product, but this company?
Sure. Something that's really unique about the cannabis space right now is that the narrative, the storytelling of this space is being written in real time. So, this Mendocino has a very unique history with cannabis. We are one of the original cannabis countries around the world, and one of the original producing regions in the U.S. What really drew me to it was the ability to actually share that story with people from outside this area. I think that's something that has been, it's really one of California's best kept secrets, that everyone's heard of this region, but actually not that many people have really visited it.
Yeah, how do you change the perception that people have towards cannabis in Mendocino County?
With work just like this, I think that cannabis can look and feel and operate just like other ag supply chains that people are really familiar with. but it really does require the right kind of conditions and the right people in the space to put that face forward.
And by saying that, what is the actual function of Emerald Sun? You don't grow the product, correct?
Emerald Sun is one of California's premier cannabis supply chains for sun-grown flower. So we provide post-harvest support across processing, storage, and transportation for cultivators in the region. On that is really on the farmer side. In addition to that, we have really unique manufacturing abilities here. This being a former brewery, that's really one of few food grade facilities in the state that can handle and create cannabis products unlike others.
So are you a distribution center?
We're primarily a processing and manufacturing facility.
Okay.
This being a former brewery, we're also one of the first breweries of this type to be fully converted into a cannabis hashery. So we took a lot of the original technology here in the brewery and we've applied it now to cannabis hash production, which is around the world the most common form of consumption. Within California, it's something that we are now really starting to take it to the next level around production because of opportunities like this.
So, pardon me if I'm seeming really naive, but what is the difference between cannabis and hash?
Sure.
Like artesian hash.
Sure. Hash is a concentrated form of cannabis. Again, around the world, historically, hash has been the primary method of consumption. It is an all-natural extraction process for cannabis. Essentially, you're taking the flower and adding water, ice, and agitation to remove what are called the trichromes. These are the resinous glands on the cannabis plant. That concentrated form can be consumed on its own, inhaled very similar to cannabis, but also what we really use it for, why we manufacture to this kind of scale is it is the best raw ingredient material for a spectrum of manufactured products, everything from edibles, beverages, topicals, all of which using hash become plant-based products all the way through.
So what is going to be your future here at Emerald Sun? What do you look to aspire? What goals can you attain?
So we've spent the last few years really focusing on developing SOPs that really have never existed before in the cannabis space.
What's an
Sure.
SOP?
Operating procedures.
Okay.
So what we've done here is the cannabis industry is still very immature when it comes to workflows and relationships between the cultivator all the way through to the customer.
Oh.
So what we've done is created a lot of those standards so that the farms, which in this region produce some of the highest quality flower in the world, they require post-harvest support just like you'd find in every other ag supply chain. And that's really been what we've been focusing on over the last few years. Where this is going is everything that we're doing is primed to actually have people that aren't from this world come and see and learn about that process and what it looks like when the flower goes from the farm to a facility into a product and then finally into market. It is something just like, the best wineries or breweries in the world. Showing that behind the scenes is really what Emerald Sun is really all about.
You have a beautiful facility here.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous. And people need to understand that they can't just show up here and buy the product.
No, this is a production facility primarily. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, as beautiful as the building is, it's really the people that keep this place running and make it what it really is. We were really fortunate that most of our team actually is from the area, local to the area. Mm-hmm. We're one of the larger employers here at this point too. And to that, I think we all have a responsibility in Mendocino County for cannabis to create a pathway for that stimulus in so many ways.
That's really exciting. very exciting for the community and for you as you continue to grow within your company as well. If you wanted to have one word to say to everybody out there about Emerald Sun, or maybe a whole sentence, you could do that too. What would that be?
Sure. I think the primary thing about Emerald Sun is creating an environment that feels familiar to people from outside of cannabis. We really, and when I say we, Mendocino County, I think has been around this flower and this plant for so long. We understand it here, we know what to do with it here, but it is not well understood by the entire market. So education is really a big part of what we do here at Emerald Sun. It's why the facility looks like this. It's why we make the types of products that we do. So education is probably a big one.
Emerald Sun, I really fell in love with this establishment. It's so clean, and I just love the decorations, and I love the people, and I love that they support Mendocino County.
Yes, we are really blessed to have them as a part of our business community, and as well as just the community as a whole. They're great people.
Yeah, and we wish them well and
Yes.
much success as well, too,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, so that wraps it up for this edition of Visit Mendocino County, Room to Roam. But we drop an episode every 15th day of the month. So our next episode coming up on September 15th, what are we doing?
We're taking Roberta camping.
Oh, no. You know, I actually suggested this because whenever I'm in Mendocino County, I see people having so much fun. They're camping, they have a campfire, they're doing s'mores,
Right.
and people are running around and just being really happy. And I don't camp. I glamp. I don't camp. Can we glamp?
You can glamp.
Okay, so we're going to have a wonderful, these places are fantastic, and I hope you can join us for our next episode on September 15th. I'm Roberta Gonzales with
Travis Scott.
And join us next time for Visit Mendocino County, Room to Roam. Until then, everyone, take care of one another.